Hey, I'm Dean and this is Legacy Voyage. In Season 1, I'm documenting my journey to earning my first 100K net worth as a full-time college student. Join me as I share some of the lessons I learned along the way.
Okay, we got the birthday interview. Let's freaking go. With Levain. Doo-doo stain. Okay, my name is Dean Wata. It is October 1st, 2025, and I am 21. Let's freaking go. But it's also like 11:57 right now. So I want to do this part when it's actually October 1st, and then I'll do the rest of the interview later. But yeah, we'll catch you.
I was supposed to record this yesterday for my birthday, but I had so much work. I had like 7.5 hours classes, and then I had to work after. Then I went out with my boy Mateo, so we were just like doing random stuff. So super busy, but I did record like a intro clip, which is that clip that you heard at the beginning of this on my birthday. But now I'll do like the full birthday interview, which is the tradition of interviewing myself every year on my birthday. But to start off, and I guess repeat the intro. My name is Dean Wata. Today is October 2nd, 2025, and I'm 21 years old. My current net worth is 50K, and my body fat percentage is like 21%, I think. I haven't checked that in a while. And I think I'm around like 205 or something like that. Yeah, I honestly haven't been tracking my weight or exercising that much. Freak! Yeah, that's kind of tough. Anyways, I have 2,070 LinkedIn followers, and over the last year, I've gotten 441,000 impressions on LinkedIn. The vast majority of that came from about like 4 months ago when I started focusing more on it after starting at Leland. But now I'll go to rapid fire, a couple things that we can hit on before we dive into the actual question. So, rapid fire, best meal I had probably when I went to Korea, and there was this spot. It was super, super hot outside. So I was like walking around, couldn't even walk outside because of how hot it was. But it was like this pot style where they brought in the food and we like cooked it in this little pot. I don't think it was hot pot. Actually, I'm pretty sure it wasn't hot pot, but it was really this random Korean restaurant that was goated. Coolest new experience, probably skydiving in New Zealand. That was kind of insane, kind of crazy. And I'll talk about this later, but one of the craziest parts is that last year in this same birthday interview, I like offhandedly mentioned that one of the things that I might want to do is skydiving. And it just so happened that that's actually what I did when I went to New Zealand, was skydiving. So I was pretty sick. Favorite weekend? This is kind of hard to pin. And honestly, I don't have like a solid answer, but it might be like a great weekend was probably the one, I don't know, one of the times I went to Europe, because that was just like, man, that was so chaotic. I was literally finishing up school, and this was actually last year fall, so I was finishing up school probably a little bit after my 20th birthday, and I was just visiting Europe like every weekend. So like went to Paris, went to Barcelona, went to Madrid. Yeah, it was kind of crazy. Favorite new city? New city that I've been to. I like Seoul. Seoul is pretty cool. Yeah, I would say Seoul. And favorite new friend? There's not like a favorite new friend, but like there's a group of friends. Because one of the other things. Oh, actually, wait, it's SF. Oh my goodness. Yeah, favorite new city is SF. And my favorite new friend was probably like this group of friends that I made when I was out there in SF from, when was that? January to March for winter quarter last year. So that was pretty cool. Or I guess technically this same year, 2025. The most intense week, honestly, probably last week or 2 weeks ago when I first came out here from Utah, and I was like trying to get the hang of school again. So looking through syllabi and like figuring out all my assignments and stuff. And then on top of that, I was trying to lock in on Leland stuff. So that was probably one of my more intense weeks. And then favorite concert, honestly, I'm not a concert guy, but I went to a Kendrick concert with SZA. So that was pretty sick. Even though bro, I honestly keep getting Kendrick mixed up with Travis. But yeah, we don't talk about that. But that is all for the rapid fire. Let's get into some questions for the day. Okay, how am I feeling today? This one's interesting because technically yesterday was my birthday, but I guess I could talk about today. Dude, honestly, yesterday I felt great. I was like super productive, got so much work done, and then went out and then hung out with my boy. And then today, bro, it was brutal. Cause I probably stayed up last night till like 3 or 4, just like catching up with my boy, cause it's been so long since we really like talked. And then I woke up this morning for a meeting. It was at 10 a.m. and I was just so tired. And then my work all day has been like moving so slowly. Yeah, today is definitely not my best day, like in terms of feeling. But I honestly, after a good night's sleep tonight, like I'm sure I'll be okay tomorrow. But favorite or recent book that I've read? Honestly, I'm rereading Atomic Habits. This might just be a thing where like I don't know, when I want to reset or when I change my environment, it's helpful to go through that book again, because it's one thing to read a book and like okay, but I think it's something else to like really study it and actually try to apply those things. So I think it's what I'm trying to do now that I'm rereading that book. Another podcast that I just listened to, which I thought was kind of interesting, was like Mashup podcasts on Diary of a CEO. They had like Alex O'Connor, Dr. K, and some other Christian dude. But basically like 3 people. There was like the Christian, the agnostic, atheist guy, and then the spiritual Indian dude. And yeah, they had an interesting convo. What did I eat today? Oh my goodness, this is the other thing. So today I woke up at 10 a.m. and I went straight into the meeting. And then after the meeting, I just had so much work to catch up on. So I was like doing that all day. And then pretty soon it was like 3, 4 p.m. And I'm like, oh freak, I haven't eaten all day. And then I was showered and then grabbed some food at like 6 or something. But it was just like a whole bunch of like pork and I think some broccoli in there, some beans. It was like a pretty dining hall type meal. Cause that's another, I've got the dining hall plan, so the cheapest plan, but it's good to give me fuel and sustenance. Let's see, craziest story this past year. Oh, what would it be? Man, I feel like so much happened. It depends on like what type of crazy. Cause like one type of crazy was kind of the offer thing when I was like trying to debate with Leland or some other startups. That was kind of crazy in one sense, cause like, oh my goodness, I was so confused and super lost. Another crazy story would probably be like one of the times I traveled. Oh, wait, actually I know. Okay, one of the crazy stories was when I almost got stuck in Europe. And so this was one of those Europe weekends where I went and visited my friend who we all met up in Barcelona. So we're in Barcelona, we like went out, had some fun, and then I had to lock back in because keep in mind during this time I had school. So I left like Thursday or whatever and then got into Barcelona, we had fun, and then I was trying to look for flights to get back out. The only issue is that all the flights were so full. So I started freaking out. I was like, what the heck? What am I going to do? And I looked through all the flights, like, oh, Barcelona's super full. So what can I do? So I look at the flights from Madrid, and from there, actually, it's kind of good. And so I booked myself on Madrid, but then I had to figure out how I'm going to get myself there. So I looked through all the trains, and keep in mind, this is already super late. So it's probably like nighttime. I want to say it's past 9, 10 p.m. But luckily, I was able to find this train that goes to Madrid. So I book myself on that, and then I go to Madrid. And by the time I get to Madrid, it's probably like, it's super, super late. Probably like 12, 1 in the morning time. Maybe even later than that. But I have no place to stay. So as soon as I get there, I have to wait for the bus that goes to the airport. And so I wait there for even longer, like another like hour or two, just at the bus stop. I'm literally on the side of the street. And while all of this is going on, I'm constantly checking the flight from Madrid to Chicago, and that flight looks terrible still. So I'm like, low-key cooked. Or I don't think it was from Chicago. I think it was to like New York or something. It was to somewhere. But that flight didn't even look that good. So I was stressing out about that. Like, I could have just came all the way from Barcelona just to not get on the flight. So I finally get to the airport. I'm dead tired. I just want to go to sleep. Luckily, by the end of all of that, I finished it up, got on the flight, knocked out, and then came back to school for Monday. Yeah, that was just a crazy scenario. So that was probably one of the crazier stories for sure. How often do I talk with my family? This is the same answer every day. What non-business aspirations do I have? Non-business? Dude, honestly, this is probably, man, I keep telling myself this, but freak, dude. And Iron Man is like, yeah, it would be nice to do or like nice to say I did. But man, that would just require so much time and effort and training, bro. I think I might be able to do when I go back to Utah so I can lock in on like on training and stuff. But it probably, yeah, it would probably be like a physical thing, like doing an Ironman or I don't know. I already ran a marathon, so probably a faster marathon or a better marathon. Which is also another thing that I said last year. I was like, oh yeah, maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't. But I actually did it, so that was pretty cool. Who's the richest person in my contacts? Dude, I have no idea. Honestly, I don't really be getting phone numbers like that. So probably the same answer as last year. Like I doubt it changed. Biggest tech advancement that has blown your mind. Well, this is easy. This is for sure AI, but probably something with like Cursor, because Cursor has came out and man, Cursor is life changing. A lot of the video gen stuff is insane, so that's pretty huge. Yeah, but for sure AI, and it's just constantly getting better and better and better. So it's like, dude, next year it's gonna be even crazier. What's the first thing I did this morning? It was literally hop on that meeting, bro. Like as soon as I woke up, I hopped on the meeting, and then people were late, so I just like did work, and then finally did the meeting, and then right after that, I had so much work to catch up on, so I was like, yeah, that was a lot. Okay, walk me through my day. Okay, I'll walk through the day yesterday and then today, because I think it kind of strings together. So yesterday, I woke up like 8:50 a.m. ish because I had like a quick call with one of my coworkers because we're planning like this big launch that we'll do next week. So hopped on that call, chatted real quick, and then I headed to class. So I literally went through 5 classes, hour and a half each. So it was 7.5 hours of classes starting at 9:30 a.m. and then went all the way down to 5 p.m. And then after that, I finally had time to eat. Oh, wait. No, right after classes, I actually have to lock in and then working on that same launch that we're going to do next week because I had to do some stuff with the landing page. So I worked on that for like an hour or two. And then I finally went to go eat. What did I eat? I probably ate like a burger, like a double burger and like a chicken salad type deal. Got that done. And then we went to salsa. I went to salsa with my boy because I'm 21, which I didn't even need to be 21 for the salsa thing because they didn't card me. But after we walked from there to Levain Bakery, grabbed some cookies, and then we went to an arcade bar, which is super ironic because I got my fake taken at arcade bar in SF. But when I was like going to the arcade bar, the bouncer was like, "Welcome to the big leagues," and then let me in. And so we finally got back. Honestly, we got back pretty early at like 11 or 12, which is definitely enough time, or would have been enough time for me to sleep. But then we were just catching up, me and my boy, for like another 3-4 hours. So then I went to sleep at 4, and that's what started my morning. This morning with like barely any sleep, or at least sleep that I'm not used to. Started at 10 a.m. Started working then, and honestly, the work nonstop till like 5 or 6, and then 6, took a shower, got everything, went and grabbed dinner, and then came over here and then just kept working. So yeah, today has been filled with tons and tons of work, and that's honestly what my past like couple weeks has been, which is why it's been so intense. Let's see. A fear a year from now. What do I fear a year from now? Dude, honestly, I fear probably getting so focused and so locked in on work that I lose sight of everything else. I'm not sure if I had a similar answer last year. I think it honestly might have been the same answer, but yeah, it's just like being so focused on this that I lose sight of what actually matters, which saying it out loud is probably what is happening. So honestly, probably like some meditation, self-reflection needs to take place. But I will, yeah, I'm gonna definitely probably do that. What am I currently working on? Okay. Yeah, so the big thing I'm working on now is obviously I'm at Leland, but there's this big thing that we're doing called Leland Plus, which is the most accessible product we put out there, because we originally started as like coaching, and then we did some courses, and then now we've got Leland Plus, and this is like YouTube but for career growth. So people can go here and basically it's makes discovering and going further in your career as easy as scrolling on YouTube. So with that, because I'm heading up campus growth, I've been kind of taking lead and doing a lot for that launch that we're going to do next week. So that has been my biggest project that I've worked on. Honestly, a couple big takeaways in this thing, like working on this project. What I'm noticing about myself is that I love building systems, and I actually get like super energized from building, like when I'm coding up websites or building like, I don't know, things that can scale or agents or whatever. So I'm not sure if I'm like a growth person, but I just like building. So honestly, I might talk to my manager and see how we could change things or how it can fit in better there. But yeah, that's just one thing that I'm noticing about myself, especially as I'm working so much now. What's the biggest thing happening in the news right now? Let's see. Honestly, over the past month or so, one of the big things was Charlie Kirk. So he got assassinated. And so that was huge, of like people who hated him were like celebrating, and the people who loved him were like mourning, and then like treated him as like this martyr of American values. Honestly, I like to this day I'm not super into politics. Maybe that'll change in the future, but that was going on. And then also like in this like Mormon church or LDS, the prophet or the living prophet, he passed away not so long ago. And actually yesterday on my birthday, apparently the government shut down, and I honestly don't have any idea what that actually means, but I did read that that's what happened. So a lot of things going down. Let's see, coolest person I've met last year. Honestly, there was this one really, really cool dude that I met in SF. He was probably like the wisest 21-year-old I've ever met in my life. He just seemed like a monk or a guru. Like the way he was talking about how he founded 2 companies, and then he was making so much money, but his co-founders who were on the companies, they were kind of getting greedy and they were kind of losing themselves, and so he wanted out. And so he said no to all this money because he wanted to like stick to his core values. Like, yeah, he seems like a really, really cool person. So that was pretty awesome. Now moving on to the medium questions. Let's see. Greatest hits and worst misses. Honestly, I don't even understand that question. Oh, how did I answer that last year, bro? What? Greatest hits and worst misses? Yeah, I don't understand that. What did I change my mind on this year? Oh, one thing I definitely changed my mind on was probably this idea or this notion that I would love to just slow down and not do anything and just like chill. Because in December last year, I went to Tonga, and over there, it's just a super slow lifestyle. And I was over there trying to learn the language, which gave me like a project to work on. But something I noticed really about myself is that I love working on these projects, or at least like working on something gives me meaning. I'd rather have meaning and be stressed out sometimes than have no meaning and just be super chilled. Like, so that's one thing that I probably changed my mind on. What did I learn this year? I learned Tongan. That was pretty sick. Or at least I learned 2 years equivalent of Tongan, and I took a test that proves it. So that's a big dub. Do I have a girlfriend? I do not have a girlfriend. Honestly, I'll talk about this later, but yeah, I'm on the hunt, bro. Your boy's on the hunt. Not really, though. What makes you happy in a relationship? What makes me happy? I don't know. There's probably like 2 big things. One is like they're funny. That's not really like super easy, but like funny, like easygoing. We can get along well. So that's probably one. Others is like they actually have goals and they're like striving toward those goals. That's probably another one. But yeah, biggest thing to happen in my career. Yeah, this is definitely Leland for sure. Not only is it like getting the internship that I had last summer, but also getting the offer and then locking down on that, and now just working full time while I'm finishing up school. That is insane. advice to myself 1 year ago. What advice would I give that person? Probably trust your gut. Yeah, I think it would be trust your gut because, like, even with the Leland offer, I had like this initial feeling just to like go with Leland in the first place, but I didn't want to act on it immediately because I wanted to like think about it more and decide, which I think was good, like deciding. But that's probably one thing, just like trust your gut and the intuition that I built. Advice that I would give myself a year from now, it would probably be don't be busy, be efficient. It'd probably be that. There's something along the lines of like not spending so much time working, but in the time that you do spend working, make sure that you get so much done that it feels like you've been working like a ton. So that's probably the end, is like just be a lot more efficient or a lot more like more leverage with the time, something along those lines. Am I more confident this year compared to last year? Undoubtedly, bro. Like literally, yeah, by far, it's insane, dude. Like even the marathon, that's probably been like probably one of the big highlights of the entire past year is doing that marathon because it just proved to myself that I can do hard things. And also it was just so good for my mental health and physical health and everything like that. So definitely for sure. Who is my closest friend right now? Same person, my boy Mateo. I was with him last night, or I guess technically this morning, just chopping it up some. He is my boy. What question do you hate being asked? I don't know. What question do I hate being asked? I guess I don't like really hate any specific question. Who can I turn to for guidance? Who can I turn to for guidance? Honestly, I feel like these haven't changed. Like my sister for relationship stuff, my dad for like businessy stuff. I guess yeah. I turn to my friends for sure. For different things. Like Mateo for sure when it comes to like relationship stuff. And then my other like businessy friends for business stuff. So I guess it has expanded a little bit. And probably also my coworkers, my like manager and like the CEO and founder, probably like people like that. What's the scariest thing I've done last year? I want to say the marathon. Probably that. Which isn't scary like the traditional sense, but like scary in the sense of I was scared of it for so long that I didn't give it a try. That I just like locked in and did it. I was like, whoa, wait, I'm able to do this. So probably that. What makes me feel powerful? I guess running, bro. I keep talking about running. Yeah, honestly, especially long runs. And I haven't done a long run since the marathon, honestly. But man, those long runs where you go for like 15, 16 miles and it's just like, dang, I really did that. Like, yeah, that's a crazy feeling. Moving on to the deep section. Let's see. First question of the deep section, am I happy? Let's see. I think this is a bad question. So maybe I won't answer it next year or like rephrase it, but because I was listening to a podcast literally today, the host of it was asking this question to like the three guests. And they all had the same answer, which was this is hard to quantify. Like, first of all, it's like it's hard to quantify. You can say yes or no, but it's more so like how happy are you? And then the other thing is like what do I really care about? Is it happiness or is it joy or is it fulfillment? Like all these different things that sound similar at face value, but they're very different. So I guess to do my best at answering this question, am I happy? I would say as of right now, probably no. Just because like today, although I spent a ton of time working, I don't think I got like a lot of actual work done. And I think a lot of that was just because of my sleep. So I honestly think like yesterday, the answer would have been yes for sure. But my sleep today has been kind of terrible. So probably no. But I would put my bets on next week or even tomorrow. Like after a good night's rest, I'll be good to go. And my answer will be yes. So am I happy right now in this moment? No. Do I have fulfillment or like growth? Like for sure. What's most important to me right now? One thing, I don't know why, but I've been like Not, I wouldn't say super focused or like super important, but one thing that's been on the back of my mind for sure is trying to hit 100K, like 100K net worth by the time I graduate, which is technically in June. So that's one thing. But honestly, man, yeah, I don't think I've thought super hard in a while about my values and my priorities, which I say all the time, especially on this podcast, is my God, myself, my people, then my work. And honestly, in the past week or so, like it really has felt like I've flipped that and put work number one. And I think it feels that way because I low-key have, like, I've just been so busy working. So I would say if you look at my actions, you would probably say work. What do I want them to be? I want them to be my God. I honestly think that is part of why went back and started reading Atomic Habits. I feel like I get this kick every now and then of like, oh, I want to lock back in. And that's why I go back to that book. Because it always seems to help, at least a little bit. What is my biggest regret this year? My biggest regret? Dude, honestly, I don't have any, like, major regrets. But I think one thing I want to work on is, like, probably being more confident. I think confidence is the right word. Or is it confidence or is it, like, willingness to be rejected? That's probably something I want to work on. Just, like, my confidence. My Riz game, bro. I get to get my Riz game back up. Biggest thing I'm struggling with. Dude, honestly, like, probably time management. I don't think time management is too vague. The biggest thing I'm struggling with is, like, being efficient with my time. Like, being able to do a ton of work in a small amount of time. Because I think if I were able to do that, then I could fit in all the other things that I want to do, which is like running and working out and hanging out with people and stuff like that. Which I kind of like, I'm doing it to an extent, but that's something that I probably want to get better at. Lowest point in the past year. Ooh, this is kind of tough. What has been the lowest point? Oh, wait, I don't know. I know. Not maybe not lowest, but like most confusing and most like I have no idea what I'm gonna do with my life moment. Definitely when I was deciding between the two offers. Not the two offers, the one for sure offer and then one like potential offer between Leland and the other startup. So that was probably one pretty big low point. And what do I want to accomplish next year? Well, next year, I want to hit 100K net worth on paper. And when I say on paper, it means like not 100K literally in cash in the bank account. Because I don't think I'm going to be able to get there. But 100K net worth on paper, which means I'm counting my equity in the startup. Even though it has not vested and even though I'm not supposed to like technically calculate that into my net worth, but that's what I'm going to do. So that's one thing. Something else. Dude, honestly, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do an Ironman in the next year, but I do want to get a better, like, I get faster and like be better at running. Maybe not a faster marathon because marathons like they're so time consuming, or maybe a faster half marathon. That might be the new thing because those are shorter. Awesome. So those are all the deep questions, and I guess now I feel like this podcast is going on super long, but let's wrap it up with the final section, which is life update. These are higher level overview of the most important things in my life, or at least what I want the most important things of my life to be. And I'll start from the beginning with my God. Man, over the past year, what has it been? Dude, honestly, I feel like it has either stayed the same since last year. Actually, it hasn't stayed the same. My habits and my attitude toward God has probably stayed the same, which means that I've definitely been declining in that area of my life for sure. Every now and then I'll get this kick to start reading scriptures and say prayers and stuff like that, but I don't know. I really just haven't felt that like coming to Jesus moment of like, oh my goodness, like God is real or I have this relationship with him. So, dude, I'm over here thinking like, yeah, hurry up, like, oh, why hasn't it happened yet? Like stuff like that. So that's one part of me, and the other part of me is like, man, maybe I haven't, I just never recognized it. So who knows, dude? Next year I could be atheist, bro. I could be Gnostic, or I could be a super hard Christian, or I could even go back to the church, bro. That'd be crazy. But yeah, that's where I'm at with my God, which honestly isn't too big of a surprise given this like entire episode. I think that is honestly something that I want to focus more on. Update on myself. Honestly, my physical, mental health, it's a lot better. First of all, definitely improvement since last year. So that's first of all. But also, yeah, this is probably like the healthiest I've ever been, both physically and mentally. And then they're both improving, I think, better than they have in the past. But for sure, still like tons of things to work on. Like I still got a belly. I still like sometimes get like super stressed out and like go and binge anime or like eat a good amount. But honestly, yeah, my eating has been low-key on top of it. It's more so making the time to go and lift. That is probably the bigger thing. But in terms of myself, honestly, good. Definitely better than it's been in the past and getting better. So that's always a good thing. Update on my people. There's kind of like three parts of this. So family, for sure. I feel like I've always at least tried to prioritize that. So I think that is definitely good. Friends, I've got some good friends. We have a good time. But romance, oh my goodness, bro. Your boy is cooked. Yeah, this is probably my out of all the areas of my life, this is probably my weakest area. But also, if I'm being for real, I just haven't made it a priority. But it's not even like going on more dates just to like meet girls and stuff. It's like I just want to go on more dates, meet my future wife, and like lock in. Cause I feel like at this point, bro, I just have this like wandering eye that's like, oh, what about her? What about her? What about her? But then it's like, bro, just lock in. Just like pick one and like run it. That's one thing that I will probably be more diligent about, especially in the next couple months for sure. Work, yeah, this is probably definitely of those categories, probably the most that I've put the effort into. In terms of growth is like super high, like growing a ton, especially at work. Money, I would say, especially given that I'm a senior in college, like pretty well. It's like doing pretty well there. In terms of mission, this one I'm not super convinced about because although for sure like I'm super aligned with Leland and the mission, I just one thing that always makes me question is the fact that I'm not actually a customer, which is probably like the heaviest hit that someone could ask me, or like that really any star was like, if you're not your own customer, especially if it's a consumer startup, like why are you not using your own product? And I can honestly say it's because, well, first of all, I already have a job, and this is mostly for people to like get jobs, but also, like, yeah, I'm just not like the target demographic for what we're doing, but I like technically I am, which is so contradictory because I'm supposed to be, yeah. So that's definitely something I've been thinking about. And in some sense, like I am the dream customer for Leland, or like I actually want to be using Leland because it's all about like investing in yourself and gaining new skills outside of school and stuff. But for me, I think it's just because my goals are so variable. I guess not so straight and narrow as like getting into school or landing a job offer or something like that. Maybe I'll use it to get into YC when I start building that new startup. But that is the life update. Honestly, dude, for this episode, I was really not feeling it just because, maybe I was just making excuses, but been super tired and been working all day. But I wanted to knock this one out, get it done, because it's cool to like be able to look back at the year, and it'll be interesting to see how these episodes start to weave together as I get older and older. But the big 2-1 is in the books. I'll see you next year at the big 22. Let's go. I record these episodes completely free to share success with everyone. So the only thing I ask is that if you learned anything or found something interesting in this episode, just leave a review and share it with a friend. Only takes 5 seconds and it would mean the world. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next episode. Tatok, see you.